Hey everybody, Joy here. It is already 2 p.m. on Sunday on July 23, 2023. It's 7/23/23. Don't you love those fun dates? If you want to see Jerry and hear directly from him how he's doing, go over and watch Shine. He talks about it right at the beginning, so you don't have to listen to all about Proverbs 22. But if you want to hear from Jerry, go over to Shine, Google Shine Joy Bernhardt, and it'll come up, okay? Because evidently there's a whole bunch of other Shines out there for some reason. Why did I name it Shine? Because I was watching church one morning, and I got the message from, you can say wherever you want to say from, but that I needed to start another channel and I needed to name it Shine. And so I did. Because, well, I won't go into one of my little sermons here since this is Joy Bernhardt Sewing, right? Okay. I wanted to take a minute and answer some questions. I had the same question by a couple of you, and you wanted to know about the Sunflower Quilt and what pattern it was and if it was still available and all of that. Now, I don't know if it's still available. If I can find it on Amazon, I will put it in my Amazon store because, you know, it helps me make a little bit of money if you buy things from my Amazon store. And it's not any different than if you just went to Amazon and bought it. The prices, it's still Amazon, it's all Amazon, but I think the most I have ever made from my Amazon is $12. Okay, so I don't want you to think that I'm making too much money and you don't care. So if I can find this, I'll put it in my Amazon store. But if it isn't there, you might can find it on Etsy, you might can find it on eBay. There's lots of different places that, you know, you can find old things. And this is an old thing. So here's the quilt in the book. It is part of a book that has a lot of quilts in it. And the book is called Country Bouquet Quilts, and it's on the cover of the book. Country Bouquet Quilts. There's a lot of other quilts in here too, but that one I liked because, of course, it had applique and it had sunflowers. The name of the quilt is Kansas on My Mind. Kansas on My Mind quilt. When I look at this quilt, I don't think of Kansas at all. I just think of sunflowers, which grow in Oklahoma also. So it's old. I bought this many, many years ago. The quilt is 62 by 72. Let me see, 2002. 2002. So that's it. That's what that quilt's called, and this is the book you can find it in. And if anybody makes it, I want to see it. You know I love to see your quilts. And you know my email is usually in the description box, or I'll put it here or here. So if you want to send me a picture, or if you want to send me an email, often it will help if in the comment you'll say I sent you an email, because I don't hardly ever get any emails there. Just people wanting me to sell their stuff. I get lots of emails wanting me to be an affiliate and sell their stuff, and they'll give me their stuff free and then I'll make money. I'm not interested in that at all. I'm not an affiliate with anybody at this point except Amazon, I guess you could say. I don't really have much of an affiliation with them, with a total of $12. The way I make the money the best is if you'll watch the commercials. Just let them play. Watch the commercials and give me thumbs up. And of course subscribe. I'm almost up to 26,000 subscribers, so that's super exciting. It makes me just want to make more videos, Now all my videos are not tutorials. The last one I did was just a short one about fixing something I said wrong. And then the one before that was a long tutorial showing you the bicycle top and the roses top that I made and the pattern I made it with. So if you haven't seen it, Please watch it. Of course it helps. The more people that watch, the more it helps my channel. So I appreciate whatever you all do to help my channel, because they give you analytics. They tell you everything in the world about your channel. And you go to analytics, it will say, hardly anybody's watching you. We don't know what you're doing, but nobody's watching you. Or it will say, you got a whole bunch more views this month than last month. Or you got more thumbs up or whatever. Please do those little things for me, because it really makes me happy when I look at my analytics. You know, it's one thing when people encourage you to do more of what you're doing, and then it's another thing if they say, oh, we're bored with you, we've watched you for all these years, and nothing's new, and. I get a few. Thank God, hardly ever do I get a bad comment. It's so rare. Somebody just left me one, and it was mean. Something about how boring I was and I just talked all the time or something. And I just removed it. I just thought, I'm not going to respond to that. I'm just going to remove it. And it wasn't from a recent video. It was from an older video. And I was showing them a pattern. I was showing a pattern to everybody. I wasn't making the pattern. I was just showing it. And this person said, you didn't even show us how to make that pattern. All you did was chat, 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 chat. So, I know. I want to show you something. You remember, you know I'm doing the block of the month from A Season in Blue. Quilt along block of the month for 12 months with edited sitar. And I showed you how I accidentally made a table runner, because I was going by a video that she made and the picture that she showed. I just watched the very first part of that video, and I immediately went and just cut out all the mediums and cut out all the darks and put the thing together. Well, then found out later when I went back to look at it again, no, that's not what happened. I went over to the board where I've got all the other months hanging, and I put that one up, and it just didn't look right. It looked different than all the other months. So I thought, well, that doesn't look right. I wonder if I made a mistake. So I went and I looked at the video, only this time I didn't look at just the first picture, which was the mediums, and I didn't look at just the beginning of the video. I looked at the whole thing and figured out that she tells you, if you listen to all of it, hint, hint, that you were supposed to use light backgrounds, not medium. So I did a little flick for you right here. And how about these boards I put them on? They say you can use a cookie sheet, but a cookie sheet isn't big enough for a 16-inch block. So I used these, oh, what are they called? Core boards. Core boards that I wrap my fabric around. This is what they are before I cut them. I cut them in half, and they end up being 10 by 15. So one of these is sewn together. That one right there is sewn together. Those four go on the side of it, if that's the one that ends up on the side. And I have to sew that one together, and I have to sew that one together. Look what I invented! Now I wouldn't do this to make a whole quilt, but to make 3 16-inch blocks. You know, I had these on the floor, 3 of them. That one I'm done with. This is my last one, and I wanted to bring it over here, and I don't have any more tables. I don't have any more place to put stuff. I would if I was over on that side. So I thought, hey, maybe I could make like a fake table. Because I had it like this. Well, of course, you know, it's just going to fall off. And then I had it like that, leaning on the chair. And then I thought, oh, let's just put the chair up and do it like this. So I'm sewing right here. And so I was just able to pick up all my pieces and sew them together off of this little invent-a-table. Ta-da! Table runner number 2. All right, I'll show you both of them at the same time. Here's number 1 with the medium background. And you can see that if I hold it up to this quilt, it's just too dark. There's so much white in all the other blocks. And look, you can just see this one's really dark. So here is number 2 down here. Now it blends in with the rest of the quilt. It's a wonder my quilts on the background don't just fall down. I always use them for bulletin boards. It's so much easier than that board in there. Number one, I had to put it all away because of the painters, and I haven't taken it back out. The one that you build, you know, the wall. Can't remember what it's called. But it's really nice, but boy, it's a pain in the neck to put up and take down. So, this is what I've got so far. And so August will be month 8, and then we'll still have 9, 10, 11, and 12. So, it looks like it's going to be humongous when we get done with it. But I think it's really pretty. Of course, I love blue. I love blue. Turquoise the most. Yeah. And you can see how I fussy cut the middles. So they all have some funky little bouquet. It looks like I hung it upside down, actually. If you turn it the other way around, they're more right side up, but it doesn't really matter. All right, that's the end of this snippet. Good morning, my friends. It's Monday morning, and I have some really good news to tell you, but very sad news. Philly's husband just passed away a few minutes ago. You know, Philly is my BFF for a long, long time. And her husband has suffered for years now with a failing liver. And he's been so ill, and she's been caring for him. And he just passed away this morning. So I know if you are Christians like I am, you know only his body is gone. He is still very much alive and in a much better place. But there's Philly, and such a loss. Her 3 kids are with her, and her grandkids, I think, are probably there too. So I called her, and I told her Jerry can't drive, and he's got to go see his heart doctor, but as soon as that's over, we will be there for whatever service that they have for him. But I just wanted to tell you, if you're a Christian and you pray, please lift Philly today, that God will be with her and help her through this very hard time in a married couple's life, for better, for worse, in sickness and in health, till death do we part. I know a lot of you have gone through that. So I have something I want to show you, but let me get myself back together, and I'll be back after a while. My battery's about to go dead, so I have to show you this fast. Probably most of you know about this. I had no idea about this. It is the most amazing thing. I love it. Instead of having to stack my quilts all up here, which is fine, and I'll still leave a lot of them up there, but looky here, what I found. They're hangers for large blankets. Well, guess what a quilt is? It's a large blanket. So they go in your closet. They're very skinny, and they hold your quilt. Let me show you one with a quilt on it. Ta-da! Isn't that wonderful? Oh, I'm just so pleased. Now, you know, you have to use the space you have, the room you have, the closets you have. We've got a big house. We've got lots of closets, and nobody lives here but me and Jerry. So I have lots of closet space not being used. So these are going to work out just wonderful. And I don't have to lift 5 quilts to get to number 6 because they're all individual hanging up. Don't you just love it? They're in my Amazon store. Good morning. We're up to Tuesday. It's only Tuesday. July 25, 2023. I'm pretty sure. And yes, we're still here, there, and everywhere with Jerry's heart and my doctor appointment and getting up to see Philly. You know, my husband, I'm pretty sure it's my husband, but I'm telling you, it's like he's a different person. I feel like I'm sleeping with a different person. And you can imagine, you know, if Jerry's heartbeats had a block in it, and I'm sure it's been a long time because he's been acting crazy for a long time. And always he would doze off. If he sat in a chair or laid in the bed, didn't matter which, he would just doze off. And his head would go back. And then he'd jerk and he'd come awake. And then he'd be awake for a little while, and then his head would go back. And then he'd jerk and he'd come awake. Well, now, we got in bed just before 8 o'clock last night. And I'm on his side now. You know, he took my side, and I took his side. And it's totally different over there on his side than it is on my side. He's understanding why I've had a problem with the mattress. Evidently, on my side of the bed, now remember, we've got 2 single beds because they're electric. So single mattress on top of a king. And so I've always slept with my head elevated and my feet elevated a little bit, and I sleep on my side. So I sleep like in a ditch on my mattress. You can just see it. There's just a ditch in it where I sleep every night. And I sleep like on the seam allowance on the side of it. Sometimes I have my foot hanging over for temperature control. So he, because of his pacemaker, and you would think, it being on his left side, he'd want to be on the left side. But he doesn't, because he wants to be on his right side so he can roll on his right shoulder and not touch this, which is all brand new surgery and pacemaker and very, very sore. So now he's over there on my side and I'm on his side. Now, before he goes to sleep at the drop of a hat, like, 10:30 gets there, and he's, stopped dozing, waking. And I'll turn off the lights and say, okay, we're going to go to sleep now. And he's, that's it, he's asleep. That's it, he's asleep the whole night, never gets up, never moves, never turns to the right, never turns to the left, never does anything. Now, this is my old husband. So this is my new husband, who now has a whole heartbeat instead of half of one. I should go take a picture of the bed. I should go take a picture of it. The bedspread and the sheet are on the floor at the foot of the bed. He's completely uncovered when he gets up in the morning. He's just uncovered and the covers are all off. And he's pulled the covers off of me 15 times during the night. He pulls them, I pull them back. He pulls them, I pull them back. He pulls them, I pull them back. It's tug of war. I told him I'm going to sleep in a different bed tonight, driving me crazy. And not only that, he talks in his sleep. And he talks constantly. And he has that wonderful, beautiful, deep voice. And that's how he sounds when he talks in his sleep. And last night, I'm laying there and, I'm thinking he's gone to his instant sleep, like the man I used to live with. He's going to be instantly asleep. And I roll over and I try to go to sleep and he's like, we've got to get out of this building. I'm like, The building. We've got to get out of the building. What building? Well, we need to get out of the theater and go over to that building. And he's carrying on a conversation with me, sound asleep. Crazy. I said, Jerry, there isn't any building. We're not in a theater. We're at home. I know that. I said, well, let's just go to sleep. We're at home. Okay. A little bit later. Oh, he's so happy. Like, who's happy, Jerry? He said, Roger's happy. I said, oh, you mean because he's in heaven now? Roger's Philly's husband. He said, yes. But he's asleep doing this, you guys. So I'm getting no sleep. And Jerry's getting wonderful sleep carrying on conversations. He said a lot of other things, but, I have one ear buried in the pillow and the other one covered up, and I can tell he's talking, but unless I clear my ears and put my head up, I can't really tell what he's saying. So it's just so different, so totally different. But thank God he's here, and he's irritating me all night long. He's alive, and I give you all the praise, Lord. So what am I going to do? Well, I've been listening to Charlie. Do you know Charlie Rich? I had to take all of the stuff off of these shelves for this room to get painted. Well, down in the very bottom cubby hole, there's a whole bunch of old albums that I have. This is one that I used to listen to when my first husband decided he didn't want to be a husband and he didn't want to be a daddy, and he took off with drugs and girls that were on them. And I was heartbroken. I was just so heartbroken. I was madly in love with him, just like I am with Jerry. Same thing. Madly in love with him. And somebody got him started on drugs. And his father was a horrible alcoholic. And I don't know if because he grew up with that, because, you know, you tend to turn into the things you hate. But he turned into his father, even got mean and even got violent sometimes. So I had to leave him. I had to get our little girl who was, he left right away, right shortly after she was born when she was a baby. But then he kept saying, I'm not going to do drugs anymore, and I'd take him back. Then he'd get, you know, do the drugs again. Then I'd throw him out. Then he'd come back, I'm not going to do the drugs anymore, I'm different now. Then I'd let him back. So off on, off on, off on. So probably Tammy was 2. And I decided he wasn't going to change. And that if I stayed with him, either Tammy was going to get hurt or I was going to get hurt, because he would have fits of violence. So one day when he was gone, back out in the world, I moved us. I got a friend from work to move us into an apartment, and I didn't tell my first husband where we went. And so I'm living in this apartment now, me and my little girl, and at night I'd get home from work, put her to bed, and I'd go out in the living room and I would put this record on, and with all the lights out I would sit in the floor and I would just cry. There's a song in here that says, I dream of heaven but live in hell. And I would just cry and cry. I sobbed. I cried rivers. So anyway, I found this when I was going through the cubby holes, and so I've been playing it over and over and over and over and over. Jerry's probably like, would you please put on another record? Well, it's either that or ABBA. So Super Trooper 2, I Dream of Heaven and Live in Hell. Oh, what choices of music. I'm going to do something. I've got to move all my sewing machines. The whole plan was, Jerry had to see his first shoulder injury doctor last week, and I had to see my other doctor up there, and that's where we were going to go the morning the storm came, and we were going in the RV. So we had to cancel both appointments. And the reason I wanted to go there, other than that, was my favorite sewing machine store is there called BOM, where I bought my Solaris and I bought my Elissimo and I bought 3 sergers, and I love that store. There's a manager there called Jan, and she is wonderful. I used to say, I wish I could hire you to run our store. She's just amazing. So she told me, I've got 16 machines. And I said, you know, my machines haven't been serviced for years and years and years and years. I said, could I just bring some up there and leave them with you? And then when we come back again to see Jerry's arm doctor or to see my doctor, could we just pick them up? And she said yes. I asked her how many I could bring, and she said I could bring 5. So, a week ago, a few days before we were supposed to go, Jerry and I loaded 5 of my machines into the back of the Jeep. And we were going to tow the Jeep up there and stay in an RV park. Well then, Jerry decided to have a heart attack. So, we are way behind. So now the plan is, go up there, see the 2 doctors, leave the 5 machines, and then go to Tulsa, where Philly lives, and she just lost her husband, and there's going to be a service probably Friday, we're not sure, and of course Jerry and I want to be there. I don't care if he has a doctor or he doesn't. But we're going to go up there for that, and my sister lives in Tulsa, and my sister has a really nice house, and so we can stay with her since we're not going to have our RV. And she's got 4 kids that live there, and her kids all have mansions. Her kids are all very well-to-do and have gorgeous big houses, swimming pools, but they're raising their children, and they got dogs and cats and appointments, and you know. So we won't bother them, but we will stay with my sister one night. So that'll be lots of fun. Alrighty, I'm going to go find something to do, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what it is. Aha! You all remember this antique? Jerry's kitty quilt? Well, I've been quilting it. I've spent hours and hours and hours and hours, and I've gotten all down to the bottom where I've got it tacked down. So now, the reason for tacking it down at the bottom is I can roll it back and forth and back and forth and back and forth while I finish it. So the idea is, finish one block at a time. Here you can see how I've done the kitty cat. I never know how to do the kitty cat. I'm like, how do you put fur on kitty cats? And I couldn't remember how I did Viv's. Here's a little tip. I had the kitty cats to quilt, and I thought, well, I wonder if their hair goes up and down or sideways or zigzag or straight or what. So I went to Google, and I Googled free images, clip art cats. And I got several pictures. I printed these two out. So I watched the different kitties and how their hair went. And I noticed how it came down here between their ears, and how it wrapped around their arms and their back and their legs and everything. So that's how I did my kitties. This one still has the marks from the disappearing pen. That didn't disappear too good. But the hair comes in here like this. Or I think it goes like this actually. And then it comes in here like this. And it comes in here like this. See? And then I did the bangs. We'll call them the bangs coming down. So I never know how to quilt these things. I saw one lady filling her cat shape on somebody's quilt with feathers one time, and I thought, well, there's no way I'm putting feathers on a cat. It's a cat, not a bird. So here you can see how I did the hair on this one and up on his face, and he's still got the pencil marks too. I'll have to get this nice and wet to get those to come out better. So I just wanted to tell you that. If you don't know how to quilt it, look up a picture on the internet, especially a clip art, because, you know, it gives you the cartoon version. That's pretty much what this is cartoon version. There's Bootsy and Pepper. Yeah, Jerry always says, we're not having any cats, we're not having any dogs. And I'll tell you, he gets so totally attached to them. We get rid of this RV, we're going to have some more of them, I promise you. And so here's the orange cat. Now, Vivi's quilt didn't have an orange cat, because I had used the orange to make books with or something. And so I put a gray cat on hers, and she loves it. She says her favorite cat is the gray cat, so that was a lucky mistake that happened. So got the books. Now this vinyl will stay forever. I was listening to somebody who uses vinyl the other day, and she said she makes vinyl for football players and basketball players for their shirts. And she said their vinyl never peels off, it never comes off. And what you have to do is heat it really hot and for a certain amount of time, and it will actually bond, like become one with the fabric underneath it. Now, you know, these are books written by cats for cats, right? And I'm using whatever color. This is my background color, and this is the color of the yellow cat. This is the color of the orange cat. This is the color of the gray sashings. So it takes a long time to do this quilt because constantly changing the color of the thread. These 3 blocks are done. I may come back and add more to the books, the backs of the books. But right now, they're done enough that I'm going to scroll forward and I'm going to start on the center blocks. And so, hey, hopefully before Jerry's next birthday, September 30, I can have this all wrapped up and put in a box. We shall see. Now, I'm assuming that by now everybody's received their first little quilt from Laundry Basket Quilts. Surely everyone has. Philly got hers, I got mine. This is the first one. It's not the easiest quilt in the world, and it's actually made like a Bargello. So Philly and I were going to do this at our Zoom, but Roger decided to go to heaven, and so we have put this on hold. But I like it. I wonder what its size is when it's done. Let's see, what's its size going to, I don't have my glasses on. 18 3/4 by 23 1/4, I think is what it says. So that'll be a fun size to hang on the wall. I'm wondering how to hang it. Y'all give me suggestions on how I should hang it. Should I buy some of those little metal hangers or just... So this is called Little Trip. It's like the Big Trip, only it's little. And it's one of her lines. I can't remember which one this is called. But it's colors I never use. And I told Philly, I said, you know, it's kind of nice to use some different colors. I've made so many blue and white quilts. This one will be totally different. So, I don't know how many of you are joining me in the little quilt club, but we'll do it for a while and see if it's fun or not. Well, that's all I could figure out to show you that I'm working on. But before I work on any of that, Jerry's waiting for me downstairs to get all my 5 machines. And oh, I'm telling you, we spent a whole afternoon getting those 5 machines in the back of the Jeep. So they'd be sitting just a certain way. So they would sit just a certain way, and they wouldn't run into each other or fall into each other. And we put cardboard boxes between them and blankets and towels and everything else. So the good news is my car's bigger than the Jeep. So we're going to go out there and move them all to the back of my car and get ready for our trip tomorrow morning. Starting out in Oklahoma City, then we'll be going to Tulsa, then we'll be coming back here, and then more doctors here. I've got this thing, I don't know if y'all can see it. I mean, it was nothing. You know, I go to the skin doctor basically just to go with Jerry, and so I'll say, okay, look at me too. And, you know, with him, they just go after him terribly, terribly. They may get him 30 times with that ice ball machine. And so I can't see my back. And I know I've got all of these brown marks from all the sun I got when I was growing up. And so I always said, well, just look at my back. And so she took this itty bitty, teeny weeny, nothing freckle. And she took a biopsy of it. This was, goodness, 3 months ago. And she said it came back with atypical cells. So I think I'm on my 3rd time rescheduling that. If my husband will quit breaking arms and having heart attacks. So I gotta come back and get that done. But then, August 15, we're going to Irving for the expo there, and I'm gonna see my good friend Eileen. I'm so excited. I almost would just like to go down there and stay in the hotel instead of having to drive back from the RV, but Jerry's so anxious to drive that RV, and we already have reservations at the Vineyards RV Park, so I don't know, one day at a time. We have no idea what's gonna happen between now and then. But this will end this little snippet video, and maybe I'll be back soon. If not, don't worry about me. I'll be back when I am back. Bye for now.